You lied to me, Connor. You lied to me.
My name is Connor. This is our story.
Hello everybody, my name is Gareth Evans and this is Pretty Good Game. I'm joined by deviant Bryan Dechart.
Hello.
How's it going, my man?
Good.
It's great to see you. Great surprise that you're here in Poland. Like,
you're allowed to say that?
I just walked into your... Well, yeah, I guess so.
Okay.
It's too late now, but yeah, I've said it. Just crossing paths in Poland, it's like nothing, you know. It's
just what happens.
It's what happens.
Come to Warsaw and you'll bump into this handsome guy.
I'm not sure that's true. So you play Connor in Detroit Become Human?
Yes. Well, you also play Connor in Detroit Become Human.
That's true.
Depending on how you really look at it.
It's absolutely true.
But yeah, I recorded all the performance capture.
Yeah. So that was fun, right?
It was super fun.
How was that?
Oh man, it was the coolest thing. For me, it was about getting into performance capture specifically. I thought about career-wise, what do I want to do? Something that involves like the full actor instrument of voice and body in a way that film and TV doesn't always allow you to do. So performance capture, they're filming everything 360 all the time.
Yeah.
So they want to get a full take, start to finish. I remember writing down specifically, I want to be doing the work like Andy Serkis does. That somebody sent me a trailer for Beyond Two Souls. And it was the first time that I was like, oh wait, video games are going to be the way that this is going to become more and more, you know, the use for an actor in performance capture is like obviously in super huge budget movies, Lord of the Rings and Star Wars, they're going to have performance capture, but video games are going to use it a lot more frequently.
Yeah, sure. And Andy Serkis himself has his own performance capture.
Yeah, Imaginarium.
I met him last year at AGX.
Did you really?
That was quite cool.
That's really cool. Well, Andy, if you're watching, my email is...
Either you do your job or you hand in your badge. Now, if you'll excuse me, I've got work to do.
So you worked on TV shows in the past, right? And you've done a lot of that, but you made the conscious choice. Like, I want to do this, and so you applied for Detroit Become Human, got the role, and the rest is history, I guess.
Well, it was really more a matter of like getting my representation to understand what I was trying to do, because the mechanics in auditioning are there for film and television, and from agents and managers and casting directors to the producers, there's kind of this workflow that's been established. But for video games, there's not such a thing. So it was actually through the voiceover agency, but a casting director that usually works on film and television. And the audition itself was much more like a film and TV audition, as opposed to going into a booth and recording just into the mic. So it was like a combination of being in the right place at the right time, so that when the audition came along, it was something that I was like, oh, this one, I'm not going to let this one go. Because a lot of times you do an audition and try to just kind of forget about it afterwards and say, well, if it doesn't turn into anything, it doesn't turn into anything, or if it works out, great. But this I auditioned for maybe 2 years before, and I was always just kind of thinking about it again, like whatever happened to that one. Maybe the next 2 years were really, really slow for me as an actor, and I was always just kind of thinking like, well, I need to be happy doing other things, and I started gardening a lot, and I was in my garden in my front yard.
Right.
And
I've got a garden at home that needs tending. I don't know if you're interested. You know, if you're short on work sometime.
Where's home exactly?
North Wales.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sure.
If you're ever in the area, I mean, you've got my email address.
Stop by and do some weeding.
My wife would be really happy because I don't do that.
Oh, good. Well, that's cool. You grow food?
Well, we have got a little. Why is this about me?
I don't know. Why not?
Yeah, we've got a little kind of edible bed, we call it, where we plant like herbs and stuff.
Cool.
And things, so yeah,
that's awesome. We grow in LA. We got mostly cactus and succulents and that kind of thing.
Right.
Drought-resistant things.
Right.
So not as tasty.
Don't come any closer or I'll jump!
So that's something you set your heart on. You got the job. Obviously, you're really happy about that. Yeah. How did it turn? Did it meet your expectations? Was it everything that production-wise? I mean, obviously it's difficult. There's production difficulties and things like that. I mean, I don't know if you want to elaborate a little bit on how it was versus expectation.
The first day of performance capture was for the hostage negotiation, the rooftop scene in the demo, the big opening scene of the game, and I got to film that on my birthday, which was super awesome. Nice. So that felt like a whole bunch of things aligning. The entire game is filmed in the same gray room, right? So you just have to imagine that the sniper is there and the dead cop is there, and that when I got to see it all come to life, and that it was all just as they described, and the concept art was now this full three-dimensional environment, I knew that they could really do what they said they were going to be doing, you know what I mean? And so then when I went back, I was lucky to get to work on that piece, see it fully animated, and then go back and work on it. I just had complete faith, you know, even though it seems so abstract to just be like, this is a hallway and this is a body and this is a thing. I knew that they were going to put it all together and it was going to look awesome.
You don't seem to understand the situation. You killed a human. They'll tear you apart if you don't say something.
How was it like first playing it? Did you let Connor survive? Did he die? How was that first experience when all these little jigsaw pieces in your head come together as one playable experience?
The first playthrough I did on Twitch, so we did on a stream, which it had its own kind of nerve-wracking energy because I really did save it to play through it for the first time live because I didn't want to have to I don't know. I just didn't want to I was like, okay, well, if I'm going to do this whole Twitch thing, I have to be honest with my everything.
Yeah, because it's one of those experiences that you can only live through once, right? And you want to capture that live and raw. So.
Well, and also for Marcus and Kara's storyline, I had no idea what was going to happen. Yeah. So for all of that stuff, it was a genuine surprise. The map that you have as you play through the chapters, I didn't have that when we were filming. Yeah. So it would have been awesome to know the flow chart, but that was still kind of being developed. So we filmed these chapters, like the Choose Your Own Adventure book. Yeah. The further and further you get into the story, kind of the less and less I knew because Connor becomes more and more a part of the big story instead of his own storyline, like the individual cases. The first playthrough, I was very protective of Connor, kept Connor 51 alive the whole time. Yeah. And then we did a second playthrough that I called Red Connor, which is making all the machine choices with no empathy. And I think that was hard for the viewers to deal with because they've grown attached to this empathetic Connor that becomes human. And then we didn't save the fish and we let Connor die a bunch of times. And I think it was a hard pill to swallow.
Yeah. Well, so what's it like playing as yourself in a video game? Because you're very
weird,
unique in that sense where
it's cool.
Not many people get to do that, right? So do you replay it and just I don't care about Marcus. Let's kill those other two.
I actually like the other two storylines. I mean,
because you're more less familiar with them, I guess.
Yeah, because it's more of a surprise for me. I mean, my favorite piece of feedback that we've got about the game is that the bending feels gradual with Connor. That it feels like you're kind of growing him this way or growing him that way, and that was something that I really focused on with breaking down the script. Because you're not working with the traditional beginning, middle, and end. Yeah. I imagined it more like. This is maybe a gardening thought, but rings on a tree. So you start with the centermost point of Connor. He gets out of the elevator, and then each scene is a ring around that center point. And so he could either grow what I call green Connor or red Connor. Right. We get a lot of fan art and stuff. Their version of Connor, based off how they played him, is so reflected in the art they make. Right. Because sometimes people have this Connor where he's this badass Terminator assassin, you know what I mean? Equilibrium Matrix guy. Yeah. And then there's other people that play him, and he's like a puppy dog the whole time. And they, the depictions of Connor are so varied, which is really cool to me.
And that's a reflection of the player, right? That's a reflection of who the person is playing the game, and that must have been quite a challenge for you, thinking about having to portray this character in so many different possibilities, right?
Well, I started off thinking of it as a spectrum, right? I thought, okay, well, if it's a bending narrative, there should be a leftmost choice and a rightmost choice, or a 1 on the spectrum and a 7. But then I took the full script that they gave me, and they gave it to me in chunks as we would film it, so I never got here's everything that happens. I got here's enough information to start working on it. Mm-hmm. But then there were things that weren't so simple, there's the relationship to Hank, plus and minus, there's the public opinion of Connor, there's whether or not he's staying on his mission, there's this whole thing with Amanda and deviancy and his relationship towards the fact that he's not the way he's programmed to be. In this, I started thinking about actually the D&D allegiance grid, basically, where your alignment is. Alignment. Mm-hmm. And so I took that and the Photoshop color wheel, and I overlap them so that for myself I could make a map of saying, okay, well, this is neutral Connor, and then this is chaotic good, and so on. In a film, you know what's going to happen before and you know what's going to happen afterwards. Mm-hmm. But with this, I had no idea what the player would have done the scene before or the scene after. So I imagined them remember old school projectors, overhead projectors, where you put a transparency and put another transparency on top. Yeah. So I thought about them kind of gels or filters. So you have, what if the player makes a green choice and then a red choice, and then a green choice and a green choice and a green choice and a red choice and a green choice? They have it's it's a pretty green con. But if they wanted to, they could make all red choices all the time. So by the end, they would have this like hyper red experience, if that makes sense.
No, it totally does make sense, and it must have been so complicated. And the way that you describe it, obviously, I mean, it speaks volumes for your performance and how the game turned out, because obviously you thought about it a lot. And I must say, like, your performance is one of the highlights of my playthrough. So,
thanks, man.
Congratulations on that for sure, because you did a great job with that.
That was our chance to learn something, and you let it go.
Yeah, I know what I should have done. I told you I couldn't. I'm sorry, okay?
You played through the game. You played it on Twitch. You do a lot of Twitch now, right? Was that your beginning of Twitch? Is that how you started on Twitch?
So I was not able to talk about Detroit Become Human for about 2 years, from getting cast and seeing the first trailer come out to when the game was released. So I was going to E3 and I was just kind of lurking and watching people playing the demo and like, you know, watching on social media, like, are people excited for this game? Are people terrified of what this game could be? Like, they're, you know, trying to just know what was happening. Because in video games, they very often keep the actors pretty far out of the loop as far as what's coming up. So I would find out about stuff like, oh, my face is on a billboard in Tokyo. I had no idea, but somebody tweeted a picture of it, so now I'm participating. So watching from the sidelines at E3 and all of the other events that were happening, I was always noticing people talking about Twitch. I was learning about Twitch just as something that was happening very much alongside the growth of video game audiences. So I just wanted to share like the behind the scenes experience of working on it, and knew I was going to play it all the time. So I was like, what if it's like a DVD bonus extra? You know, like when you listen to the audio commentary on a game. So that was the original idea. So I started playing Heavy Rain as like a warm-up, you know, to see like, is anybody going to care that I'm streaming? Does anybody want this? Coming from the point of view of working on the game and then streaming on Twitch, I didn't know if I was going to be met with slings and arrows. I didn't know if people were going to like embrace it or hate the idea, because it's the internet. And then I was just met with like super positive energy from people, and I think it's because the game is so much about empathy and like what we all share as humans, and so then that energy has come to us, and now Amelia and I are like super embracing.
It's one of those games that is quite divisive, because you either on board with the whole multiple choice thing, or you know, very little gameplay, or you're not, right? And so the people who love it, they really love it. And so coming out, as myself, I absolutely love that game, and it's one of my games of the year so far. Coming out, and I actually saw a notification, Connor plays Connor on stream, and I saw it, and I was like, wow, that'd be fun. That'd be cool, because obviously one of the main characters, my favourite character in the whole thing. Let's watch that. So I was on the train. I'm on board. Let's watch this. And I think that's where a lot of the love comes from. Is because the game gets criticism, right, from the people who don't enjoy that type of gameplay. So the people who love it try to defend it and feel more connected to it, if you know what I'm saying.
Well, and the thing that I think is interesting about it is like even racing games. The trailer looks like Fast and the Furious. So all video games, like even golfing games, are introduced to us like cinema now, and this is going to continue. So as the games are more and more like films, the reason we like films is because whether it's Braveheart or The Matrix, something that's super this way, or if it's like a romantic comedy or The Notebook, right? There's obviously a spectrum of what you're responding to emotionally, but it's about your emotional connection to the story, which is why you care about The Matrix, you care about The Notebook. I think that what's cool about Detroit Become Human is if you play through it multiple times, unlike Fortnite, where you have like technical skills or like actual like dexterity thing. I'm terrible at Fortnite, like I'll just declare it. I don't have that hand-eye coordination to make people expert gamers. They can train that skill round after round after round and get better and better and better at that skill. The skill of playing in Detroit Become Human and unpacking these different story endings is empathy. And it's like having a human response to other people's human response. And I think some people are intimidated by the idea of growing their own empathetical skill to be able to respond in this way. And so I think some people that from the beginning are intimidated by the idea of like, oh, well, if I play that game and I have a feeling,
I might have to become.
I'm not an
human.
android.
Yeah.
I'm not a killing machine. I'm a human, and people will know.
Yeah, I don't play games to be human.
Right.
I play games to be a killer machine. Right. Yeah. I get that.
But if you want, you can play Red Connor and just kill everybody.
Yeah. that is true.
Doesn't end so well.
That is true. I must confess that Connor did die in my first playthrough.
It's okay. It's okay.
I feel bad about that.
I meet a lot of nice people that tell me that they killed Connor or they shot Tracy or whatever.
I was so scared. I begged him to stop, but he wouldn't.
Talking of Tracy, right? Tracy is your
my
dear wife, right? Amelia.
Amelia Rose Blair plays Tracy. Or multiple Tracys.
Right, so you stream with Amelia?
Yeah, so on the first stream of Detroit Become Human, I was like, do you want to join me? Like, we're going to go do this. Like, do you want? And she was like, yeah. I'm not like getting in the way or something. And I really think that a big reason why our Twitch stream is kicked off so much is that because there's the two of us playing through the game together, we can talk about our experience. We can also I think people really like sharing their playthrough versus someone else's playthrough. And so to be able to kind of do that real time on the stream, I think has made it a lot of fun for people.
And rationalizing the decisions, like all the factors go,
right.
Why should we do this? Why should we do that? You know,
exactly.
that is that conversation that you can have real time.
And taking turns. Did you play with your wife? Did you let her?
No,
play your own playthrough?
No, I played it on my own. Yeah.
There were some times where I was like, "Give me the control! Like, what are you doing? I'm done. Please."
Do it like this. Yeah.
Did what I had to do to advance the investigation, and I'd do it again if I had to.
You're a lowlife. You don't feel a thing, do you?
So you're taking this Twitch thing seriously now.
I love it.
You've got like over 200,000 followers on Twitch, and you do it all the time now.
A lot. Yeah. I was terrified to start, and then I was met with so much positive energy about doing it, and people just seemed. I started just having a lot of fun doing it. I mean, the first playthrough I was nervous to do, but now we do a lot of IRL streams. We've been doing a thing called Go Deviant, which is obviously a play off the deviancy thing. But Amelia and I spend so much time on our computers and on our phones and just like inside, that we've had these opportunities to go to conventions, and we're going places that we've never been, like Warsaw, or we just came from the Ukraine, or from Zurich. We went to Thailand, and so we've been going and doing these like travel vlogs of our adventures and coming back and sharing them with everyone on the stream, because it's the support that we're getting online that's getting us invited to go do these things. And so then when we're out there doing it, we want to say like, well, this is what we're getting to go do. And we're hoping that it will encourage people to, you know, because there's a lot of people on Twitch that spend a lot of time on Twitch. And we're trying to encourage people to like go do something that they've never tried, or go have an experience that they have always thought, oh, it'd be so fun to go zip line or bungee jump or something, and then go do it.
It's so great that you get to do this with Amelia now too. It's like
it's ridiculous.
You don't have to worry about being away from the family, because your family's essentially with you, and you're working together now, and you're making a life together. It's fantastic. And if anybody does want to follow you on Twitch, do you want to pimp out your channel?
Sure. It's twitch.tv/Bryan Dechart, which is my name, and twitch.tv.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well, thanks so much. This has run so much longer than I anticipated. I'm so much fun talking to you.
All my streams do too.
Yeah, it's because I've got so much passion for the game. I just like to talk about things I'm passionate about. But thanks for joining me. I really appreciate you taking the time. Everybody, Bryan Dechart, thanks very much, dude.
Of course. Thanks for having me. Thanks, everybody. Take care.
You're a machine, you have to obey. Now put the gun down and let the hostage go.
I've spent my life taking orders. Now it's my turn to decide.